Hi everyone, Lisa Haven here, and I've got a huge report lined up for you today, and that is this. If you guys have been watching my channel for quite some time, then you know that I talk a lot about some of the human experimentations that not only the US government is doing, but international governments and also non-government organizations and even the private sector. This is something that I have been able to expose through the Freedom of Information Act that document upon documented evidence of everything from experimenting with vaccines, which we know cause certain illnesses in people, through Agent Orange, through experimenting with drugs on people. These are all things that the government has admitted to and even apologized for, and even some in the private sector. And I've done documented evidence upon documented evidence that actually bring it on the video. Well, today I kind of expand on that, but there is a line of bioweapons that literally cost 29 cents a death because it's a mosquito that can bite a person, and they estimate that it could be over 600 some odd thousand deaths. Now that's a scary tactic. Now what's even more terrifying is the fact that they've actually studied and released mosquitoes into the public without certain, sometimes they do. I'm going to show you that they do input things into these mosquitoes and can transfer it onto other people, but there's other things that they study and they could make it into a very bad bioweapon. And quite frankly, that's a terrifying weapon when you think what the future harbors, because those mosquitoes can spread out and spread out. So it's not something that I would ever back, because we're messing with the planet here. We're messing with the little DNA of these creatures, and we don't know the repercussions that that could have. So I am highly against that for that reason. And you could wipe out a good chunk of humanity simply because you wanted to create some crazy bioweapon. Well, check out this report. This is from thenaturalblaze.com. And it's titled Explosive Article, the Pentagon Bioweapon. Now there's pages and pages in here of actual factual document evidence, which I like. So I encourage you all, go to the actual source and read it in its entirety when you have time. But they go on to state in this document that the U.S. Army regularly produces deadly viruses, bacteria, and toxins in direct violation of the UN Convention on the Prohibition of Biological Weapons. Hundreds of thousands of unwitting people are systematically exposed to dangerous pathogens and other incurable diseases. Biowarfare scientists using diplomatic cover test man-made viruses at Pentagon biolaboratories in over 25 countries across the world. We have biolabs. We have a big major biolab also in the state of Georgia. Now, here are some of the things that they're actually studying out of that biolab, and not just that one, but others. The first one here is biting flies in Russia and Georgia. These are military experiments. Now, this goes on to talk about flies from a certain family carry dangerous parasites in their saliva, which can be transmitted through a bite to humans. The disease which these flies carry is of high interest to the Pentagon. In 2003, during the U.S. invasion of Iraqi, American soldiers were severely bitten by sandflies that had this particular disease, which is native to Iraq and Afghanistan, and if left untreated, this particular form can be fatal. Now, that's not the only one. Operation Whitecoat, more infected flies tested to bite humans, morphing into killer insects. That's kind of the idea behind the 29-cent thing there. Let's make it an insect that can kill somebody versus an actual man. But you can see the Pentagon, how to kill over 625,000 people for just 29 cents a cost per death. This is using insect warfare that they were referring to. Here's some more, and I'm just skimming these. Operation Big Buzz. 1 million mosquitoes in this operation were dropped from an aircast to study how many people could be bitten and if they could morph this into some kind of experiment later. Here's another military experiment with mosquitoes and ticks. Done in Georgia. 34 people were also infected with the Crimean Congo hemorrhagic fever in Georgia. They have also studied bats for dispersion, which bats we know can be used for Ebola, and that's referenced in the document there as well. But other things that they reference in this report are anthrax, how they can use that. Obviously the flu and viruses and strains of the flu, bacteria, all kinds of bioweapons, but it talks specifically and more importantly on some some of the use of mosquitoes, some of the use of bats, and how those could be used for very cheap rate in order to get the job done. But like I said, we can't allow stuff like that from any country. Now, here's the scary part. Obviously, us here in America, we can't control what Russia or China or that countries do in the Middle East. So it's possible that there obviously and could be creations of these in other countries. Then you have to beg the question, can America do likewise? Well, good question. Ultimately, my goal would be none of them messing with nature in that form, God's creation, because there's so many things that could go wrong, but you can't stop one country doing it from another. So should we know how to do that stuff? Possibly. But the problem comes is when it actually, and if ever, they let these things go. All hell could literally break loose, and who knows the repercussions of something like that. Could be minor, could be major, could be somewhere right in the middle. We just don't know. But either way, I wanted to bring you the latest on all of that. I'm a little more skeptical of mosquitoes today than I probably was prior to this video. But either way, wanted to bring you the latest. And please don't forget to check out my partner at virtualshield.com/Lisa Haven. Make sure you're on an IP scrambler and also subscribe to the channel. This is the way that we are surviving the world that we're in because there's so much censorship. So make sure you're subscribed. Well, thanks again for tuning in. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.